Welcome to Block 17 of our Celebrating the States Block of the Month. This is our version of the New York flag block. For this block, you will need 3 fabrics, a light, a medium, and a dark. From a 2.5-inch strip of light fabric, cut 2 rectangles that are 2.5 inches by 6.5 inches, 1 rectangle that is 2.5 inches by 12.5 inches, and 1 square that is 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. From a 1.5-inch strip of light fabric, cut 8 squares that measure 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. From a 2.5-inch strip of the medium fabric, cut 2 rectangles that are 2.5 inches by 12.5 inches and 1 rectangle that's 2.5 inches by 6.5 inches. From a 2.5-inch strip of dark fabric, cut 8 squares that are 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Unless directed otherwise, you will use 1/4-inch seam allowances throughout this block. Start with 4 of the dark 2.5-inch squares and 4 of the light 1.5-inch squares. Place the light squares on the corners of the dark squares right sides together and sew corner to corner. I'm going to use my diagonal seam tape to help guide my seam, but if needed, you could draw a line corner to corner to have a line to sew on. Once you've sewn corner to corner, trim the seam allowance to 1/4 inch and press towards the corner. If you're enjoying our Celebrating the States Block of the Month, leave us a comment below and tell us what state you're from, and don't forget to hit that like button. We'd sure appreciate it. Using the 4 remaining light 1.5-inch squares, repeat this process on an adjacent corner and press. Now we just have to lay out our pieces to make 3 rows. Make sure you have your star points all pointing towards the center white square. Piece the 3 rows using 1/4-inch seam allowances. This block would be an ideal block for an easy patriotic runner. All you would need to do would be to make 2 of the blocks and then between them sew a 12.5-inch square of either a plain fabric or a patriotic print. You could also add a border if you want to make it a little bit bigger. Finish it with some simple quilting and a binding and you're done. Once I've double-checked that I've sewn everything correctly and it looks like a star, I'm going to press towards the squares that don't have star points in them. If you press correctly, when you sew the rows together, the seams will nest together and make the sewing easy. At this point, we are 8 seams away from being finished with this block, so keep going. Once you've sewn the star together, press the seams away from the center row. trim is necessary to measure 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Next, we need to sew the stripes sections of the flag. For the 6.5 inch rectangles, piece the light rectangle onto opposite sides of the medium rectangle. This unit should measure 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. For the 12.5 inch rectangles, piece the medium rectangles onto opposite sides of the light rectangle. This section will measure 6.5 inches by 12.5 inches. For both of these, you will need to press towards the medium fabric. We're almost done, only 2 seams left. First, we're going to sew the star block to the 6.5 inch stripes block. You will want to press this unit away from the star block. I'm just going to do a quick little finger press instead of running over to the ironing board. Sew these 2 sections together. Make sure that when you look at the flag, the star block will be in the upper left corner. You're going to press away from the star block, and then once the block is done, it should measure 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches. I'm making 3 blocks every month, and I decided for this particular block, I wanted all 3 of the flags to be different. So this is the one I made for the video, and when I was testing it, instead of using a darker red, I used this little plaid. And then this last block, I used just scraps for every single part of it. Hope you enjoyed it. We hope you remembered to hit the like button, to leave us a comment, share with your quilting friends, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and happy quilting!